Okay, I think many of us do this naturally in our classrooms, but I think over the years I've learned how vital it is to actually stop and allow the children to process. I think when I was in my formative years of teaching, I often used to just get the notes and waffle on and go through it and not give the children an opportunity to stop and process. Or I would go through all the information and then right at the end they have a few questions that they need to answer. But I think if you stop, give them small bits of information, stop and let them process by using all these techniques that we've learned about, it helps them to retain the information because they've actually engaged with it. And yeah, some children, while you're talking through the notes, block out, but forcing them to engage with the small chunk at a time really will, it serves a good purpose. And I've learned how important it is. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at the second processing technique, chunking technique, and this is called cooperative dyads. Now, in a cooperative dyad, what the teacher does is they present a chunk of new information to the children. As the children listen to this information being read or being explained, they have to take notes about the main idea and the key details of the content. What I'm going to do, just to aid this process today, is I'm going to scaffold it, and I've actually given the children a tree map that they can use to fill in as I'm going through the various, as I'm going through the content. The students are then, once I've gone through the content and they've taken down jottings of information, the key details and the main idea, the students are then broken up into pairs, into groups of 2, and one person has to be the listener and the other person is going to be the recaller. The recaller then summarizes the content without looking at the notes. So the recaller's job is to summarize what they've written down, but without looking at their notes. So that aids with retrieval of information, retrieval practice. And the listener then has to add any missing information and correct any mistakes. And this will help them process the chunk of information that has been delivered. Please can you make sure your booklets are all open on page 9. What I've got there for you is a tree map, and we've definitely had exposure to tree maps before within this subject. Now a tree map, if you look at your tree map, you can see that I have divided the tree map into renewable and non-renewable energy sources to begin with, and then we can see that it's broken up into solar, hydro, wind, geothermal, fossil fuels and nuclear. Now, what I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to present you, just going to read and explain the different forms, the different energy sources to you. And while I'm doing that, I want everybody to please take down notes, okay, onto your tree map. You don't need to write big full sentences, just write down keywords and the main ideas of the information that I am presenting to you. Okay, some of you may remember some of the stuff from prior knowledge, but as we're going through, please can you, in pencil, just write down some of the key information that I'm going through. Okay, so have you all got a pencil out? Are you ready? Okay, so I am going to start with hydro. Okay, hydroelectric power. Okay, so where does hydroelectric power come from? Hydroelectric power, the word hydro means water. Okay, so hydroelectric power comes from water. Okay, it is the power of moving water to generate electricity. So the power of moving water to generate electricity, and then the moving water turns a turbine, which in turn generates our electricity. Now I know many of you, when you think of fossil fuel, you think of coal straight away. But it's not only coal. It's coal, oil, and natural gas. So fossil fuels could be in the form of coal, could be in the form of oil, and could be in the form of natural gas. I don't want you to see it. Close your booklets. Okay, close your booklets. Doesn't matter if what you've written is right or wrong, we will go through it. Now, guys, I want you to really think about what I've just gone through with you. And I want you to process the information, to engage with it and process it. I want you to divide into groups of 2, so you two, you two, you two, you two, just whoever you're sitting next to. And I want one of you to be the recaller of the information and one of you to be the listener. So quickly decide who's going to be the recaller, who's going to explain explain and who's going to listen. So quickly identify your roles. Okay, Ellie, what are you? Listener. Listener. Okay, awesome. Guys, the recorder's job is you have got to recall all the different energy sources. See if you can remember them all from what we've just said without turning back and looking at your notes. You're not allowed to look at your notes. And then you need to go through the different types where they come from. The listener's job, okay, you're not just sitting there and doing nothing. Your job is you need to listen. If they make a mistake, you need to correct them. And if they don't give enough information, you need to add information to your discussion. Are you with me? Are you ready?
The following teacher actions show that the strategy is being implemented effectively. You can see in the video that the teacher divides the text or new content into chunks. She explains the roles of the recaller and listener and pairs up the students in the class. We can see the desired student responses in this video. They're comfortably switching between roles of recaller and listener. They're taking notes. They're accurately summarizing new content, and they're recognizing errors or missing information in their summaries.